Hey guys, this is Gabini once again. Today we'll be looking at how to simplify surds, right? Simplification of surd. How do you simplify surd? Remember, surd are just exact value of any number. Whenever you see a surd, that means it's an exact value, because if you plug in your calculator the number that you have under surd, under square root, then that number, the calculator will give you decimal point or approximation number of that surd that you had. Right, so surd is an irrational number, meaning you cannot express it as a fraction of two integers, right? So let's get started and see what we can do, right? So the first example here, as you can see, we have got square root of 40, right? So how do we do here? Now, this is the rules to simplify surd. To simplify surd, what you have to do is divide the number under the surd, divide the number, this number here, divide that number into two parts. One being the highest perfect square, and the other one could be anything, right? However, you have to make sure one number is the highest perfect square. So let's get started and see what we can do now. If you look at 40, right, you start thinking, okay, so in 40 we can have 1 squared is just 1, and times 40 we are not changing anything. But then 2 squared, oh yeah, 2 squared is 4. But then what can we times by 4 to get 40? So we can times by 10, right? That's correct. But can we get any bigger number than 2? 3 squared is 9. What number can you times by 9 to get 40? There is none. That means 4 is the highest perfect square that we could get, that can divide 40, that can get divided into 40, right? So what you then do is you write that as square root of 4 times square root of 10. Now, once you have done this, the reason why we are after the highest perfect square is because this number could be evaluated, right? So the way we evaluate this is just, we know that 4 squared could be written, 4 squared is the same as square root of 4, or 4 squared is the same as the square root of 2 squared times by square root of 10, right? However, I'm gonna rub off this because it's blocking my way. So here on my next line, I will have 2 times the square root of 10, right? So our answer, the square root of 40, is the same as 2 times the square root of 10, right? Why? Because what we did to get this number, we divided this number into two parts. One being the highest perfect square, which was 4, and after that we evaluated the square root of 4, which we get 2. And then we times it by 10, because we can't really evaluate the square root of 10 because there's no highest perfect square in there that could. There is 4, there is 3, but then 4 squared is 2 squared is 4. What number can you times by 4 to get 10? None. We could use 3 squared is 9, but then what number can we times by 9 to get 10? There is none, right? So for that reason we kept 10 under square root. Right, now the number that I read above was 36. Right, so we had square root of 36. Right, so with 36, let's apply the same rule. The rule is divide this number into two parts. So divide this number into two parts. With one, at least one of them has to be the highest perfect square, right? The highest perfect square. So let's identify the highest perfect square in 36. 1 squared, just 1, it's not helping anything. 2 squared is 4. Oh yeah, 4. So yeah, we could have 4. What number can you times by 4 to get 36? 9, all right. But then is 4 the highest perfect square? Maybe not. Let's move on. How about 3? Oh, 3 squared is 9. Oh yeah, 9 times by 4. It could give us 36, right? So I'm gonna write square root of 9 times by square root of 4, right? And then I can evaluate this as we did in the previous example. So here I would have 3 squared times by square root of 2 squared, right? We are lucky because this number here, square root of 4, we already know that it's the same as 2 squared. So it's also another perfect square. So with this example, we were lucky. And so here what you then have, you have 3 times by 2, which is 6, right? So 3 times by 2 give us 6, right? 3 times by 2 give us 6. So you can see here 36. We find the highest perfect square, which was 9, and then what was left, it was 4, and then we were lucky because 4 is another perfect square, so it was easy to evaluate, and then we end up with 3 times 2, which is 6. Now let's do the last one that I wanted to do, which is 72, right? So 72 square root of 72, right? 72. Now, let's apply the same rule. Here, let's identify what is the highest perfect square in this, right? 2, 4, what number can you times by 4? Yeah, we could do that. Maybe it's not the best way. Let's move on and see if we can get higher than that. We could get 3 squared. Oh, 9, yeah. 9 times by 4 is 36. 36 times 2 is 72. Yeah, but I don't like that option. Let's move on and see if we can get further. 4 squared, 16. 16, now that's being complicated, right? What about we break this down into 2 parts first of all, because we know that 72 is the same as 72 is the same as square root of 36 times the square root of 2. Now, with this, we have already seen the answer. We have already seen the answer for square root of 36 is 6, right? We can use that value. We can use that answer to evaluate this, right? And so what you could then do is you have 6 here times the square root of 2, and then yeah, basically your answer is 6 square root of 2. However, this is because we have already evaluated this number with 36, and that's why it becomes easier. However, let me emphasize one thing here for this particular one, for 36. Sometimes you might not even need to do all of this, because here I had to break down, I had to apply the rules to simplify said. What if I kept 36 as it was, and 36, and then find another way to evaluate this? So 36 could also be, just go straight forward, it could be the same as 6 squared, because we know 6 squared is 36, and then with that, then this, because it's squared, so we end up with 2 on 2, which is just 6 on 1, and 6 on 1 is 6, right? So this is another way of evaluating this, depending on how comfortable you are. But however, we recommend this so you can understand how it works, and then once you are more familiar with this and comfortable with this, then you can just go straight whenever you can, right? So thank you so much, guys. Like, share, comment, and please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so that you don't miss out for the next videos. Thank you.